welcome to the webinar. Yeah, chart command and conquer your Jira issues. So thanks for joining us today. We've got a few people presenting today. So firstly, we've got Romy, our engineering team lead. She'll give you a wave. And we've also got Jill, our lead product manager, who's also going to be presenting today. I'll be your host. And unfortunately, Alexis can't join us today, but she will be here in spirit in the slides. You'll see a demo from Alexis later on in the presentation, so look out for that. She's sad that she can't be joining us, but yeah, hopefully you'll see her again in the future. So let's jump in then. So we're going to quickly kick off with a poll, get you interacting with the webinar today. So we want to quickly sort of understand what our audience is looking like today. So we want to know if you're getting the most out of Jira Search currently. So it could be that you've used Jira Cloud Search quite a lot. It could be that you're a complete newbie. You've never used Jira Cloud or even its search functionality. So just let us know. The poll should have popped up on your screen now. You can see some of you are answering, so that's great. Give you a quick second to finish that. It looks like we've got a fairly equal amount in all of the categories. We've got some experts, we've got some people that need a little bit more help, and we've got a few people that are fairly new to Jira. So that's good. Give it a couple more seconds. Anyone that hasn't answered, please feel free to answer. It is anonymous. Don't worry about it. We're going to address everyone's needs today. Okay, cool. So, okay, let's dive into the agenda. So we've got 4 chapters today. So yeah, the first one will be navigating a stormy Jira Cloud. So we know that Jira Cloud Search is, oh, we've got the answers to the poll that's just popped up. Sorry about that. So yeah, the first chapter will be navigating a stormy Jira Cloud. So we're going to talk about what you can achieve in Jira Cloud without any add-ons. So their search functionality is very good. There's things that you can do. There's certain things you can't do, but I think we give you a good baseline in what we're going to show you in chapter 1. If you've never used Jira Cloud Search before, or even if you have, you might get some tips. Secondly, we'll be anchoring success in your searches. So we'll sort of go a little bit more into who ScriptRunner are, what we do, how we can help if you're using Jira Cloud. We'll then start to chart the course to search precision. There'll be a lot of nautical references today, so yeah, please bear with us. There, we're going to show you a little bit more what enhanced search can do. So going beyond that native Jira Cloud search functionality into a little bit more detail about how you can achieve more. And then finally, we'll end with a little bit more about how enhanced search fits into the wider ScriptRunner suite and how you can achieve a lot more with ScriptRunner in general, but also how enhanced search fits into that. So yeah, I'm going to hand over to Jill first. She's our lead product manager. She's going to talk a little bit more about native JQL and what you can achieve in Jira Cloud.
Thanks, Reese. Yeah, so just a quick little overview. With Jira's native JQL, it's already a very powerful and flexible tool. So you can easily build queries for your day-to-day needs, like finding issues assigned to you in your within your projects, overdue tasks, or high priority bugs. But sometimes you do need a little bit more from a search. So I am going to pass it back to Reese to tell us more about that.
Cool. Thanks, Jill. I had to find the mute button there. Um, so yeah, let's move on to the next slide. So there's some limitations within Jira Cloud Search. It can achieve a lot, but it can be, I guess, slightly imprecise in what you find. You may have to write long searches to get the sort of issues that you need. So I think having that search precision is obviously very good with additional functionality. Again, if you've got basic searches, you can do it in Jira Cloud, absolutely. We know that Jira projects, especially larger ones, they can get a little bit out of hand. They're very sort of complex. There's lots of issues to search through, and we know that it can be quite scary to look at. So I think having the more precise searches and having ways to sort of break up issues and projects is very key to sort of being more efficient. And then the last one is making sure that these searches that you're doing, um, we can show in dashboards and we can make sure that they're up to date. And when you are using them, it's not like you're having to sift through loads of issues and, dashboards that you have aren't too broad so that when you are looking at them, it just doesn't make sense. We want to make sure that, the dashboards that you're using and presenting to other colleagues in your business are valuable and get to the point straight away. So we've got another poll now. So based on what you've seen already, we've shown you a bit about Jira Cloud Search. We've shown you a few of the problems that you may run into when you're using native JQL. Um, yeah, so do you think you'll benefit from more precise searches in Jira? And I guess, we think that you could be getting more from Jira Cloud Search. And obviously we're going to show you anyway. But it'd be nice to know if you think you can get more out of your Jira Cloud. So we'll give you a few seconds to answer the poll. Should be up on your screen. Majority of people have answered, just a few more to go. So yeah, it looks like a few of you can often find what you need. There's quite a lot of people that have said it depends on sort of the size of the project. So there can be larger projects that are harder to sift through, especially with hundreds, maybe thousands of issues sometimes. And then there's a few that aren't sure. So cool, that's good. We can end that poll. We can close that. Cool. So we can start to think about the next chapter. So anchoring success in your searches. We're going to talk a little bit more about ScriptRunner here. So I can go on to the next slide. So if you haven't heard of ScriptRunner before, we are a market leader in all things Jira, Confluence, in the Atlassian space. And we're also in other ecosystems too, but we won't be going into that today. We've got over 40,000 installations worldwide. So yeah, we're in the space. We're certainly a leader. And we take sort of great care with security. So we are ISO 27001 and SOC 2 compliant for our solutions. And that also comes part of being an Atlassian Platinum partner. We take a lot of pride in that. We work closely with Atlassian on a daily basis. So yeah, we are very close. And ScriptRunner is a business unit within the Adaptivist Group. So that's our sort of wider company. So you may have heard of the Adaptivist Group, but you may not have heard of ScriptRunner. So that's where we sit. And now I'm going to hand over to Jill again, talking more about the product, enhanced search for Jira Cloud, which is, yeah, I'll let Jill take the spotlight here.
Perfect. Thank you. So to give you an overview of what enhanced search is and what it does, enhanced search, it's in the name, enhanced. It uses JQL functions and keywords that go beyond Jira's native search capabilities. As Reese has mentioned, you get more accurate results. Functions and keywords are updated in the background so that the results are reliable and the searches are up to date. It also gives you smarter insights by letting you search for precisely what you need. So enhanced search can help you spot issues earlier and analyze trends with the right data that you're getting. Next slide, please. So to dive in a bit further, so an enhanced search builds on Jira's native search. What it does is understands the relationship between issues. So using these JQL functions, it'll look through those relationships to answer all different types of questions. This is a list of popular JQL functions, and we can answer questions like, which high priority issues are blocked by lower priority ones, or which open issues are linked to completed epics and they might need to be closed too, which dependencies could delay an upcoming release. So those are much more in-depth type of questions that you can use enhanced search in these issue functions for. So in other words, enhanced search doesn't stop at the issue level. It connects the dots between the related issues. So it gives you a much clearer picture of what's really happening across your projects. Hand it back to you, Reese.
Cool. Thanks, Jill. So we can start to think about how we can sort of go into a little bit more detail with search in Jira Cloud, and we can start charting the course to search precision. So showtime. So we've got a few demos to show today, using a few of our functions. So the first one will go into detail about linked issues of. That's going to be with Alexis. And then the second one will be children of, which Romy will be presenting. And then finally, I'll end the demos with a parents of example. So the first one is to identify all issues linked to a critical task across multiple projects. So we'll go in and we'll play.
Today, I'm going to show you how one of our users used enhanced search to fix an issue with their release dashboard. So their monthly release dashboard.
So I think we've lost sound. Apologies, guys. Let's see if I can. Wait, can you hear it when I don't mute?
Current
Yep.
Without all of the manual updates. So let's take a look at how they
You want
had
to rewind
things
it again? Sorry.
Okay, let's start again.
Nice one.
Today, I'm going to show you how one of our users used enhanced search to fix an issue with their release dashboard. So their monthly release dashboard required a lot of manual updates to stay current, and this led to it frequently being out of date. And so folks no longer trusted it, and ultimately it wasn't being used. So they needed a simpler way to keep it current without all of the manual updates. So let's take a look at how they had things set up. Each month, each department would create a release ticket and link all their work related to that release ticket. And so they needed to find a way to find all linked work across multiple departments, multiple tickets, multiple teams. So let's take a look at how they originally had this set up. So originally, they had a query that worked, but we can see here that it required them to input each of the issue keys for each of the release issues. And so this led to, again, them every month having to go get the issue keys, update it. Sometimes the filter was being updated before issue keys were up to date, and again, ultimately just leading to manual error and issues. So let's take a look at how we simplified it using ScriptRunner. So here we can see much simpler filter using ScriptRunner, and we're using the linked issues of function from ScriptRunner. So with that, we're looking for any issues that have a summary that matches the text with release 2025-10. And so now throughout the month, as teams create their release tickets or release issues, the dashboard will update dynamically, ultimately leading to having more up-to-date results, being trusted, and ultimately being used.
Cool. So thanks, Alexis. So next, I've come out of presenter mode. Sorry, guys. Lost my notes. Right, cool. So we will go on to the next use case, which is from Romy. So Romy's going to show us how to break down complex projects into subtasks across teams.
So this demo is trying to show you how you can break down complex projects into subtasks across different teams using enhanced search. So to build on the complexity of coordinating a product launch, for example, tracking tasks to ensure each team's contributions are aligned and on schedule is tricky with native Jira search. So using a JQL function such as children of can help to identify all of the tasks under epics related to that product launch. So if I go to enhanced search, this is the enhanced search page, and I can use this helper modal plus button here to have a look at all of the functions that are available to me that are supplied by enhanced search. For this query, I want to look at all of the work that's under all of the epics in a particular project, and I'm going to try and recursively find all of the child work items that are related to the subquery that I put into this function. So you can see here that this children of function will find all descendant issues of a given subquery, including their children, their grandchildren, and beyond. So no matter what the hierarchy level is for your instance, you can always find all of the child descendant issues that are relevant to that subquery that you put in. So I've got a project called Test Space. And it's got 8 issues in it at the moment. And I can specify that I want the type to be epic. So this should give me JQL for all of the epics in my project test space. I can then add that, if my mouse will scroll, add that in here, and then search for those results. So as you can see, we've got some stories, a subtask, a task and a bug, all children of the epics that are in the test space project. So then I can save that filter and have it as all children of test space epics. And if I want, I can synchronize that filter. So if you're going to be using this on a dashboard, or if you need your results regularly, you will want to automatically sync this filter. It means that we will sync the filter for you. We'll attempt to sync it every filter sync interval, which for enhanced search standalone is every 5 minutes. But on ScriptRunner, you can also make that smaller or larger depending on how often you need those results to be updated when you've been doing work on your instance. You can also decide who to share it with. You can share it with everybody on your instance. You can choose specific projects of people. You can choose specific user groups, and whatever permissions are applied to that project or that group, it will only show people relevant to those. For the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to share it with everybody and save that filter. As you can see, there is now a filter here.
Thanks, Romy, for that. It was interesting to see how you can save the filter as well and share it, and good to know about the syncing intervals. So the final one, which I'll take you through, is to trace the hierarchy of tasks within a project, identifying parent issues that are critical for project completion. Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to trace the hierarchy of tasks within a project and then identify parent issues that are critical for project completion. So let's imagine I'm a project manager. There's a few releases going on at the moment. Jira instance can become quite messy. And there's one particular one, which is payment release 4, as you can see on the screen, that's to do with compliance and updating payment options in app. So it's quite an important one. I really want to keep my eye on it. So essentially, I want to pinpoint the parent issues that are critical for this release, and then be able to prioritize those and the subtasks below them and below those and any bugs by making sure that those ones that are blocked can be resolved. So let's quickly jump into Jira Cloud. So this is the project, payment release 4. As you can see, there are many issues in the to-do. There's some blocked, there's some in progress, there's some done. And yeah, let's jump over to enhanced search to see how we would find what we want to find. So let's say that without enhanced search, we would type in our project name, which is BI, don't ask why, and status equals blocked. We can put this in brackets. And then we can look at all of the issues that have not been resolved. So this is what we get from this query. Lots of issues, lots of blocked. We can see different levels. So we've got the subtasks, which the child items are. We've got some bugs, and we've got some tasks that are all parents. So essentially, we want to narrow this down a little bit. So what we can do is we can go into the query builder and click parents of. If we were to put this in here, we are then going to only find the parent issues so that we can then look at which parent issues are being blocked by the issues below them. And then we can look into them and delve deeper. So we can put parent level all so that we can see all of the levels above our parent issues as well. And then we can click search. So what you can see here is the epic that these parents belong to, so that we can then go and update those when the parent issues are resolved. We've got a task and we've got 3 bugs. So 2 that are blocked, and then another one that's blocked at the bottom, and 1 that is to do. So we can then go and look into those to see why they're blocked. Essentially, there'll be a subtask that is blocked, or there'll be a bug ticket beneath these ones that are in progress or to do, making sure that the engineers are on those straight away. And yeah, this just helps project completion get done a lot quicker and resolve bottlenecks. So yes, hopefully this has been really helpful. And yeah, I'll hand back to the live presenters. Cheers. Okay, that wasn't fun hearing my voice back. So let's jump into the final poll of today's webinar. So I sort of want to find out a little bit more information on where the attendees today would like to see more information in the future. Do you go to YouTube, for example, to watch demo videos, which is probably something that I would do? Do you like going to in-person events or, online events like the webinar today? Do you like looking at documentation, that can be a little bit more technical? Just get a feel of where you'd like to see more information on enhanced search, maybe other apps that are going to enhance your Jira Cloud experience. So a lot of people like Docs, some like YouTube, Atlassian Community, yeah, another good one. Guess we don't see as many in-person events anymore, but they are still quite valuable. Okay, we've nearly got everyone replied. We'll give it a few more seconds and just to get as many answers as we can. We do update our documentation very regularly, so it's good to see that a lot of people like to get information there. Okay, I'll leave that running for a couple more seconds. We'll do a little 3, 2, 1, and we'll end the poll. Okay, thank you, everyone. So the final chapter of today's webinar, achieving more with ScriptRunner. So I'm going to hand straight over to Jill to talk all things ScriptRunner and how enhanced search fits into that wider solution as well.
Perfect, thanks. Actually, if you want to just click through so that it shows the whole thing.
I did wonder. Cool.
So we know that many different people across different roles, across different teams, will benefit from enhanced search capabilities on their own. That's why we offer it as a standalone app. But that same functionality is also built into ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud. So if you have Jira Cloud and you didn't know it, it's there. So when you combine enhanced search with other ScriptRunner features, the possibilities expand quite drastically. So you'll not only find the exact issues that you need, but then also you can automate actions, trigger scripts, or update data based on those results. So this combination turns search results into real automation opportunities. So next we'll go through a couple real life examples. So here, what I'm going to do is I'll walk you through two practical use cases that combine enhanced search functionality with other ScriptRunner features. Both will use the very popular linked issues of function. It's the most popular and, in my opinion, the most helpful. So in this first example, we want to set up an escalation service, so it's a type of job, to regularly perform bulk updates on issues that meet certain criteria. So we can use this query that's at the bottom of that slide there to find all stories or tasks within epics that are currently blocked. So from there, the escalation service can run an automation which will update the child issues status to, let's say, blocked, if that's a status it has, and update the priority to high. So this setup allows Jira to proactively flag escalated blocked work. And it's something only possible to do by combining the advanced JQL functions with ScriptRunner automation. And then our second one here. So in this example, we're again using the linked issues of function, and this time as a part of a workflow post function for stories. So when an epic is transitioned to done, this setup automatically checks for any linked stories that are still open. I find that this is infuriating because it just causes so much manual effort to clean up those things. But this can be really helpful adding this automation in. So if it does find any of those linked stories that are still open, it adds a comment to those stories. So this will let the assignee know that they need to review or close that work. So this allows Jira to stay very tidy and accurate without manual checks. Again, combining enhanced search with ScriptRunner's workflow automation. So I'll hand it over to Romy next.
Thank you. So I wanted to just speak quickly about what's coming up next in enhanced search. So you might have noticed in the Q&A already that I've mentioned this, but we are currently rebuilding the enhanced search application on Forge natively so that we can become a runs on Atlassian app and have access to all of the new features and improvements that Atlassian are releasing now that they have officially announced the deprecation of the Connect platform. So very shortly, Atlassian will not be building any new features or any improvements to current infrastructure for Connect. So for us to stay up to date and keep delivering you new features, we need to move over to Forge. We are working on this right now as we speak. So do expect some communications coming soon as to what changes will happen as a result of this migration over to Forge. We are trying to make the transition process as seamless as possible for you so that you don't have to do anything to actually onboard, or if anything, very minimal manual changes to any of your queries. As part of the move to Forge, we are also integrating the enhanced search functionality into the native Jira search bar. So that means if you've come from data center, then you are used to writing your enhanced search query straight into the native search bar. We are currently building that functionality right now for you on the Forge version of our app. So that's the native Jira Cloud integration. So that should get rid of any confusion you have about where you need to update your queries and have a more similar syntax to how it was on data center. It also means that you don't have to go to two different search pages depending if you're writing a native JQL query or an enhanced search specific query. Additionally, we do expect some performance improvements as a result of the move to Forge. So there will be some results caching that should help you get results faster once you've done your initial query. And there are some limitations on Forge that we are actively working with Atlassian to try and remove or at least increase the limits so that we can get you more information in your individual searches, just to get you the best experience that you can when you move over to Forge. So there will be some benefits, there will be some changes. We're going to really heavily communicate with you anything that you do need to do. And we'll also have a massive drive on how to make your queries as efficient as possible so that you can get the best experience and your results as quickly as possible when you're using our application. Thanks, that's everything I've got to say. Let me know if you have any questions.
Cool. Thanks, Romy, and thanks, Jill, as well for the slides before. So we've got a offer today, and we usually offer a month free of enhanced search, but I think for the sake of the webinar today, if you are new and you want to try out enhanced search, we can give you 6 months free, so you can sort of try and make sure that you get up to date with enhanced search and how to use it. There's lots of documentation, there's lots of resources that we can send to you as well. So please feel free to try it today. And if you are an existing customer, we are also offering, excuse me, an hour with our customer success team. If you want to get a little bit more out of enhanced search, you may also have ScriptRunner questions. So yeah, please feel free to use the QR code today. And also, if you didn't know, like the Atlassian community, we actually have our own community platform now. We'd love you all to join. There's lots of resources over there. Questions get answered very quickly. We're not lost in the Atlassian community. So if you do have any questions, you can speak to other members as well. So yeah, please feel free to join Loop. It is great, and we are growing that very quickly at the moment. Now we can move on to any questions that you have. I know that throughout the webinar you've been asking lots of questions, and hopefully everyone's been answering those. But if you did have any questions, we can sort of answer them live over voice instead of typing. So please feel free to start typing some questions in the chat. Can see we've had a couple through that we're currently answering, so I don't want to take those unless anybody wants to talk about those live.
Happy to answer this one that I'm just writing live, but I'll also write it down for you as well. The question was, do you have resources online regarding the migration of existing custom enhanced searches in DC over to cloud? So yes, I can direct you to our documentation about all of the feature parity and differences from DC to cloud and the process of the migration. We do have an automated migration through the JCMA, which will try and move over any existing filters that you have using enhanced search functionality and rewrite them to the syntax that's compatible with cloud. If there are any that are incompatible with cloud and we can't rewrite them for you and they require manual input, we do produce a document for you with all of the filters that haven't migrated and the reasons why. So if there's something that you need to change on your instance manually, you'll know about it. But yeah, I'll write that all up in a note as well for you.
Cool. Thanks, Romy. We do have another question. So Nicholas says, is there any plan to integrate the enhanced search section with the classic JQL? If I recall, they were the same in our former on-prem Jira before we migrated to Jira Cloud.
Yeah, I can answer that one live as well. Yeah, so what I was just talking about in what we're building now and what's upcoming now, we are currently building that functionality so that your enhanced searches will be written into the native Jira search bar and you won't have to go to the enhanced search page anymore. So we are currently building that. We're hoping to release it in the first half of next year. We want to get it out to you as soon as possible. So that's our number one priority at the moment.
And to add to that just a little bit for history, we would have just had it straight in the native Jira functionality. It's just, it wasn't possible on cloud. So we worked with Atlassian, and that's why we had to create a separate app for it. So it was always our intention to move it into native Jira. It just took some time for Jira to be able to essentially allow us to do that. And here we are.
Thank you both. So we actually have another question related to the native Jira feature. So once the native JQL feature is done, will we be able to write custom JQL functions like in Data Center?
Very possibly. The goal is to allow you to do that. It's on the roadmap.
Thank you, Jill. So I think there's no more questions at the moment. I can give everyone another minute quickly to get some questions in. Just quickly as well, I will go to the next slide. We do have a feedback section, so please feel free to give some feedback on the webinar today. I'm not sure if there's a free text box in there, but if you did have any more questions, you could answer in there, ask them in there as well. So yeah, I can't see any more questions as of yet. So, but if you do have anything, you can get in touch with us in other ways. Feel free to join Loop, ask some questions in there. There's plenty of experts, customer success are in there heavily. Other members, other users of ScriptRunner can ask questions and answer them for each other. So please feel free to join Loop. But yeah, I think if that's all, we can go ahead and close the webinar today. So thanks for joining.